look like they're still completely flat. There comes the arbor. Let's cross into Bottles Up. Okay. Cheers. So welcome back everyone, sorry about the technical difficulties. There was a problem at the London server or satellite far beyond my comprehension. I'm just here to chat about lions. So we're back with the Nkuhuma Pride. As you can see, they have not moved an inch. I haven't heard any more word on that leopard we were tracking a little bit earlier, but the lions are very flat. And as you can see, we were able to still show you pictures of them while we didn't have sound, so we sat here patiently, but not too much happening here. So we are hoping that they will move before the end of the safari, and we'll be able to hopefully see them either go for a drink or maybe possibly try some hunting. Oh, there we go, there's a little bit of movement. Move forward a little bit, see if we can have a look at a different angle. Sorry guys, I'm just listening to the radio. It sounds like that leopard we were tracking has been found to the north of our boundary. Unfortunately, not too far, probably about 100 meters in. So we were fresh on those tracks. Unfortunately, we're just a little bit late behind them. there's a few little bits of movement and stretching that are happening, and not enough yet, I think, to sort of warrant some excitement that they might decide to arise from their slumber. So lots of flies around at the moment in this humidity. So you can see these lions are very, very comfortable at the moment. Lynn's wondering, do they have a sense of where they are compared to where the other lions in the area might be? Most definitely, Lynn. And they do this with scent marks, so they'll be able to smell, and also very importantly from hearing. A lot of roaring is all territorial, just signifying that this is their area. At the moment you find these guys are not making too much noise, so they're trying to hide from the Birmingham males. But this is core Nkuhuma territory where we are now, and seeing the Tsalala pride up here has been unusual, and it's possibly because they've been away from this area for quite some time because of the Birminghams, that we've had a bit of rain, that when the Tsalalas came up here they couldn't smell any other lions, so they thought this might not be an occupied area. But it seems that now we had both of them very close to each other yesterday, and the Tsalalas immediately bolted back down to the south. Very lazy kitties. So, as you notice, we've got quite a few adults and one sub-adult lioness. The sub-adult lioness is that one lying there. So Barbara's wondering why there aren't any cubs. Well, Barbara, at the moment we're busy with a sort of male lion takeover. So the older males have been pushed out. They're new males who these guys haven't accepted fully yet, and they're not mating. So without mating you can't have cubs, and if they'd had any cubs to the old males they would have immediately been killed by the new males, so the new males could get their genetics going in. Although very interestingly, when that does happen, the females will go into a false estrus first, and that is to sort of placate the new males, but also not producing offspring from them till about 3 months after they've been in charge, and that's to make sure that those cubs will have a chance of success, because if they keep mating and producing cubs with every male lion coalition that comes through, they would lose a lot of their cubs. To infanticide, which is very common in the animal world, male lions will kill unrelated males' cubs, and that immediately brings the female into estrus again within a couple of days, and then they can mate with it. Or estrus or false estrus, the males can't tell the difference. Not being very entertaining lions, but this is the reality about lions in the bush. And often in those 1 hour documentaries, the reality is of 8 months to a year's worth of filmings packed into 45 minutes. And working on a documentary in Botswana a few years ago, we spent our record literally sitting next to lions like this. It was just over 3 days. People would bring us food, and when we needed to go to the toilet, we would just drive about a few 100 meters away, or not even, and then we'd drive in. One person would stay awake in case something happened, like nearly happened this afternoon. An animal just bumps into them, and the other would snooze, but we did a lot of reading of books during that time while waiting for those lions to do something, and a lot of snoozing in the back of a Land Cruiser. But being patient with lions is the best way to really get those incredible sightings, to see them hunt, to see them catch something, to see them fight. Sometimes you do get lucky, but most of the times when you see that stuff is you've had the patience to wait with them till it happens. Also, reading the animal's behavior is quite important. So I knew we could rush off and go chase the chance of a leopard, and being pretty safe that these lions wouldn't have moved an inch, and they hadn't. So while the lions are all flat like this, it is pretty much impossible for me to tell which is the injured lioness, and Sarah, Sandy and Elizabeth are wondering which one. We'll have to wait till they get moving to see which one it is, and they will know is she going to be okay. More than likely it looks like just a muscle injury. She probably got kicked by the giraffe they killed last week. These animals do have an amazing resilience and ability to come back from injuries in a relatively short time. Temperature's dropping a little bit, but we can still feel that humidity in the air. Still hear some tambuti seeds popping, and there's little grey moths inside them, or the moth larvae, or the little ground stretch. A few little leg stretches going. Bit of a wind picking up now, but I will say these lions still look very content and not about to move anytime too soon. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to go do another loop. We won't go too far. Let's go see if we can see what else is on quarantine, and then we'll come back in probably 10 or so minutes. And maybe there'll be a little bit more activity here. And I'm not seeing the sort of traditional signs of them about to be moving quickly, with sort of stretching and mutual grooming. Oh, look at that stretch there. That's the second time. But then head flop again. So, guys who are watching the Djuma cam, you can keep an eye on it for me. They might pop out heading towards the water. Earlier there were wildebeest, zebra and buffalo all very close to them. So it is likely they might head off for a drink, so do please keep your eye on the Djuma Dam while we do our loop around here, see if we can spot anything else interesting before heading back to those lazy kitties. There are a lot of parasites out here in the bush. Ticks, mites, fleas. And Judith, hi Judith, from North Carolina. Wondering, do the lions ever get infected with all of these to a degree that it might kill them? it is possible, it is unlikely, and generally there'll be something else wrong. It could be from bad injury or whatnot, and the infestation of parasites gets even more. But generally not. They can survive quite happily with a few thousand ticks on them. So we're just having a look. Those buffalo moved off that way. I just wanted to see if we could see where they were, or where they are, sorry, or where they went, and see if the lions might possibly move that way. And of course, I'm always happy to spend a bit more time with my new friend, that big bull Ellie, who's been... I'm going to go across to James very quickly, who's got a reptile.
We have just stumbled across a little blind snake. Now, I'm not particularly familiar with the species, even which the front end is. I think it's this end here. And you can see it's a blind, completely blind animal. It's a snake. It looks like an earthworm, but isn't. And I suspect the fact that it is... Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. Here's the front end here. Now, what it's got here, if you look carefully, is that it's got a kind of digging mechanism. It will try and get into the sand to get away from us. And I suspect what you'll also see is that it looks almost like it's got a head at each end, and that's probably for defense, probably to try and detract or confuse predators as to where it's looking and what it's doing. Anchoring the tail into the sand there, unless it's actually digging with the tail. Fascinating. I've never seen one. I've only seen them in books before. I just want to see if we can't... I know it's not ideal to pick them up, but because he's here, I don't think it's a major train smash. Just so that we can get a better look at his head. Amazing. I think what they will do is burrow down, hide under the sand, and they'll hunt for little, probably invertebrates mainly, maybe the odd small reptile.
So the head is this?
I think this is the head here. See if you can get... Yeah, it is definitely. This one is anchoring it in the soil there. And the head here is definitely looking up, and you can see it lifting. And its mouth is covered in sand. It's been hunting something. Look at that. There you go. No. Now, I am going to pick it up because I don't want to leave it on the road here. If somebody comes past here during the course of the night, they will definitely run it over. So while we're picking it up, you can have a look at it. Isn't that amazing? Look at that unbelievable little animal. Little blind snake. Okay, let's put him over here. I'm not going to put him on a tree. Oh, he's actually hanging there now. Very nicely. So we'll let him climb off if he wants to. Just astonishing. Look at the incredible musculature, how that skeleton must be moving. Inside this tiny little body is a backbone. There are a whole lot of ribs, thousands, well not thousands, but probably hundreds of ribs all the way along. And I can actually see his little face there. I think he is probably a little bit stressed now. So let's put him there. Now you can't keep my stick. Give it back. Alright, I'll give it to you. There you are, you can have it. Like my stick he did. Isn't that beautiful? Just stunning. I must say, being on foot like this, you know, we're used to seeing all the big mammals, and we learn a huge amount about the big mammals, both from observation and from books. And we learn a few things about the little things, but you can't learn everything about everything, of course. So trees are pretty easy around here. And then you find a snake like this, and it's just so fascinating because I don't know much about its biology at all. I know it's a blind snake, but I mean, I've never spent any time looking at them like we are now. It's tying itself in a bit of a knot there. And so just to observe the way it moves and the incredible strength that it has to hold itself up and actually almost pull the stick away from me is amazing. Now, probably shamming death, so it's not, as soon as we move, it moves. but they will sham death. Lots of snakes sham death. I'm not sure if these ones do particularly, but they do that to escape predation. And you see how it goes backwards and forwards. It's absolutely amazing. Wow. And Nancy, I'm absolutely sure that it doesn't have a head on each end. Unlike the push me pull you in Dr. Doolittle, snakes don't have heads on each end of their body.
So we found that herd of wildebeest again. They're probably 300 or so meters from those sleeping kitty cats and slowly mobile back towards them, but I don't think they're going to get all the way down there. There's the bull at the back. Move forward a bit. So they're moving out onto this open area to probably spend the rest of the night. It's a really nice safe area for animals, and there's very little chance of a lion sneaking up on you in this massive open area. So the wilde's there. We're going to keep on moving around. We don't want to spend too much time away from the lions as it gets cooler and darkness is about to set. It'll be really awesome to see them maneuvering. I mean, we're just going to show you how much game moves onto the quarantine clearings as it gets dark. So we've probably got, oh, actually let's have a look at those wilde's using their pre-orbital glands there. Having a roll and a scent mark. Very nice little dust bath. Oh, that looks nice. Okay, you see that wildebeest using its pre-orbital glands, the bull. So apart from having a good scratch, he's actually scent marking his territory upon that terminator. Oh, there we go. See the other one putting his head right in the ground. I found a nice sandy spot for a roll. There we go, another one having a good scratch on that silver cluster leaf. Oh, all the wilde's really like this spot. Tree to scratch on, sand to roll in. And there comes a male, and you can see how he's more focused on that little spot just behind his, just below his eye. And those are those pre-orbital glands. Oh, that looks fun. So we're going to keep on showing you how many animals are just spread all over quarantine. And while we do that, Abby, wondering where did all these wildebeest come from? Well, a lot of these animals will have seasonal migrations. They'll move between good grazing and bad grazing. And during the day, they'll spread out through the bush. So that's why at night they tend to congregate on quarantine, but not all the time. So this herd probably has a home range that it wanders through that includes parts of Djuma, but not other parts. And while we meander and see what else is on quarantine, Chris from Appleton said when she was a child, her favorite animal was a black panther. And she says she watches all sorts of wildlife documentaries and has watched our show religiously and has not heard or seen a black panther. Well, Chris, a black panther is not a real thing, I'm afraid. It is a menelistic form of a leopard or a jaguar, is what is often referred to as black panther. What a menelistic form is, it is a leopard where it produces an overstimulation of the color. I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. The color genetic, the melanin color. So it becomes black. It still has rosettes, but it is very, very dark. There are a few areas in Africa where they are seen from time to time. One is not too far from here, probably over 120, 130 k's. We got some impala on the left chat. We're seeing what else is on quarantine. The impala is also moving out to the open area before it gets dark. And another area where menelistic leopards are quite common is in, well, not quite common, I mean they're never common anywhere, is in the Central African rainforests, where actually being dark would be a very big advantage since very little sun filters through there. I know quite well. I did spend a year living in a rainforest in Gabon on the equator in Central Africa, between Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Central African Republic and the Congo. So here we go. This is probably the area where all the wildebeest are going to bed down for the night. Nice and open, good visuals, difficult for a predator to sneak up on them. And then I know historically certain forests in India were also famous for menelistic leopards or black panthers, and that's where Rudyard Kipling's inspiration for Bagheera from the Jungle Book comes from. He is a menelistic leopard. So let's go see if those lions have decided to move. Just appeared out of the thicket they've been resting in, and I'm just going to move around so we can get a good view of them. They might come for a drink. They're looking at something. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I'm going to keep my lights off because that looks like they're stalking something, so I don't want to give away their position. Let's try figure out what they've seen. I can't see what they've seen. Something in this area here. So there's one lioness up on the down wall. Just behind that tree. We're trying to figure out what's going on, what they might have spotted in that area. I see to update the game drives quickly. You can see that lioness up here is showing interest in something. Trying to see if I can see any movement in the bush up ahead. The station's in Nkuhuma, up in mobile on the Gari Dam wall. I wonder what's there. And quickly, before these lions move off and start hunting seriously and we have to follow, we had a very cute question from Isabella, who's 4 years old, definitely one of our youngest safari viewers, and we were looking at the wildebeest on quarantine, and she wanted to know, are those beasties dangerous? Because they sure scare her. No, Isabella, they're completely harmless and not dangerous at all, just a little bit funny looking. So whatever she spotted distracted her from going to get a drink. Just trying to figure out what's going on. So we're going to sit quietly, listen, keep our eyes open. There could be some buffalo bulls around. Well, she's not moving. I'm going to take the opportunity to move. And just try to get ahead up onto the other side where we can see a bit better, because if they do go in the dark, we want to be as close as possible to have our ears right there. We don't put lights on hunting animals. It gives their position away. Same as we don't put lights on whatever they're hunting, because it'll actually make it easier for the lions to catch them. So we're here to observe. You're holding on, Brian. This is not with all the buffalo, elephant and whatnot when this dam was drying up, a very bumpy crossing. So this lioness is the only one standing up at the moment. The rest are lying down on the down wall behind her. She's gonna have a quick squiz up around here to see what she might have possibly spotted. And also following animals hunting, and particularly lions, what you can do, how much light you can use and all that, can be very, very varied depending on what type of animal they're hunting. It sounds very strange, but a big herd of buffalo, they'll use quite often a tactic that they'll just charge at the buffalo, let the buffalo see them, panic the buffalo. But if it's something like an inyala or impala or zebra or wildebeest, they will try to stalk it and then pounce rather than harass it into making a mistake. I can't see anything here. There's something around the corner there. There's Impala. But she's not looking there. She's looking in this area where we are now. Maybe she just heard something or smelt something. Because we're not seeing anything. I don't think an Impala at that distance would warrant that amount of interest. So, as I said, the lions are lying down on the damn wall, except for one lioness who we've been trying to see what she's looking at. I think it's time to get ourselves an unusual angle on the lion. So definitely not an angle we get with lions too often, is being below them. Let's see if we can get a view of them from here. That lioness is now heading back towards the others, given up on whatever she might have spotted. There you go, you can see her up there. So with lions, quite often movement will be up for 20 minutes, down for 20 minutes. And it looks like they're down again. Again, still a nice unusual angle on these lions. I'm just going to try wedge the spotlight in so I don't get covered in bugs. Oh, yawn. So they didn't move very far, probably about 50 meters before the next nap. See them lifting their heads like that, testing the wind, seeing what they can smell. There comes another yawn. So we've got another question from the young Isabella. Do lions like to play with birds? Very seldom. I have seen them chase some birds, Isabella, but your cat likes to play with birds because it's small. A lion's very big, so instead of playing with birds, it likes to play with buffalo and wildebeest and other things that it can eat. Oh, I think we might be heading off for a drink. Hello, Amber. She does seem to love giving us that funny look when she's close to the vehicle. Now, is she going to head for a drink or is she going to have a nap over here? Nope. Pit stop. Bless you. Just check what's behind her out in the clearing. Doesn't look like anything. Well, I think she might be heading off to have a drink, so I think we're going to stick with the amber eyes. I've had so many wonderful sightings within Nkuhumas, but the first really memorable one for me, it wasn't long after I started, when both Scott and I were here, while they attempted and failed quite dismally to hunt buffalo with the two Matimba males. Next ablution. So as I said, they hunted very unsuccessfully, but it was an amazing sighting seeing them chase big buffalo bulls out in the open. Then the buffalo turned around and chased them as well. And after quite an exciting little bit, the only thing that they could manage to catch was a tortoise. And one of the lionesses ate a tortoise. Around before heading to the water. Maybe she's not that thirsty. The water's directly in front of me. She's having a sniff around. I think she spotted those impala. I'm just going to take the light off her for a sec, Brian. See if we can get below her again. See if the others come to join her here on this old termite mound. You can just see the light fading to the to the west behind her. And William, who's a new viewer from, Brendan, a new viewer from Johannesburg, and saying, what happens to the lion's territory when there's fire? Surely the animals move off. A lot of animals will, but a lot of animals will also stay, because fire generally means there's going to be nice fresh growth coming from after that fire. So it doesn't really affect that. The lions will move with the animals, and generally their home ranges are large enough to accommodate for things like that. So I hope you guys are getting some awesome screenshots. Looks like they're gonna go drink, so let's get into the right spot. There's another that's coming now. We're gonna play. There we go. Aubrey. Aubrey, I'm only stationed here. Make your way. They are busy. Puzamati at the water in front of Gallagher. In front of Tella. It looks like the lions timed their drink better than the early bull. There's fresh water coming out, so they're getting nice clean water out of the pipe. Sorry guys, just trying to keep the bugs off me. Oh, isn't that awesome? Thirsty girls. Not that thirsty though. Isn't this special? I had some incredible encounters today. Here's the young sub-adults coming to join. Oh, flap. Next door. Here comes a fourth lioness is coming out of the dark now as well. Looks like she's going to go drink the muddy. She's going to go drink the muddy water. Lions aren't too particular. How's that Brian there? Oh, bless you. So one of these lionesses is carrying a bit of an injury. And there she is. See how that back dead stiff, and look how much better she is already. So I think, as I said, these animals have an incredible capacity for healing, and very fast healing. I'll just double check. I can only see 4 of them at the moment. I don't know if I need both. But I haven't seen any major limps. All of them seem to be a bit like the mud, and they slip on the rocks a little bit. But I would say that lioness we just saw finish drinking and move off looked to be the one who was carrying the injury, and she looks to be walking fine already. There's one lioness still lying right next to us here, and I'm going to go to the right one, show everyone where the other lioness is. She's a little bit behind us, over there. Hasn't come to drink yet. I think the prettiest is going to be the one lying next to the water close to us here. There we go. They're all listening, smelling, and as you can see, lions do tend to do quite a lot of lying about. And of that 4 hours of movement that they do, as I said, that 4 hours is definitely not 4 hours of solid movement. It'll be broken up into little 20-minute, half an hour stints. Looking back towards where the other lioness is lying. She still hasn't moved though, and the other's lying just in front of us. A little bit of a groom cleaning herself. So we've seen that wonderful Eddie bull spend a lot of time sucking on that water pipe to try and get the nice fresh water, and Susie said this should be a cue for him to come rushing off and chase off the lions. Wouldn't that be fantastic, Susie? One lioness still to come. I think let's move a little bit so we can get a better view. She's still lying there. Let's go look what the rest of the pride are up to. bison below them here. Oh, isn't that sweet? Alright, behind about the angle, but it's so nice to be below lions. Well, it looks like I was wrong. That lioness with the limp is still coming from the back. Definitely not as pronounced as it was yesterday. She will move towards us shortly. There she is, just stopping for a drink. I'm sure she'll come and join the rest of the pride shortly. There you go. When I did see her moving towards us, her belly does look quite full, so she got a definite share of whatever was caught yesterday. Oh, those teeth. That's Madame Amber Eyes. Oh, isn't she just exquisite? Knows how to work a camera as well. On the subject of lions, there are quite a few different extinct species of lions that used to be around, and Mike has just let me know that there's been a recent discovery of 2 cave lions by Russian scientists which were frozen in the Siberian tundra and from over 10,000 years ago, and there were quite a few different cave lion species that were around. And that particular cave lion that they found in Russia appeared around 300,000 years ago and died out at the end of the last glacial phase about 10,000 years ago. A part of the secondary extinction of the Pleistocene megafauna die out. So mammoths, cave lions, all those type of things died out then. Cave bears as well. amazing how peaceful these animals look, and they have that huge latent energy that can be unreleased at any time. Just have to see them walk and see those muscles ripple. Nice bit of preening going on. Very important to keep a little bit clean and deal with that. Obviously, lions eat some incredibly rotten things. Wind's picking up, which should be quite good for hunting. The clouds covering the moonlight, so they'll like windy, dark nights for hunting. Gives them a much better chance at success. And even then, a lion's success rate is not the best in the world. Around between 12 and 15%. Only sort of every 1.5 times out of 10 do they actually catch something. Well, I hope you guys are getting some incredible screenshots. Don't forget to share them. There we go. A little bit of playing. Very important, this sort of playing and greeting in terms of the social structure of the pride. Keeping those pride bonds tight. We can just see that light glinting off her eye. Isn't that spectacular? Let's see where the rest of those lines are off to. Looks like they've gone back to around the waterhole, so we shall do the same. Yeah, guttural toad calling next to the lions. So when doing can hear that toad quite distinctly, and there we go, having a lion silhouette. Isn't that beautiful? So Aubrey's also here looking at the lions, so utilizing his light. Sorry, I apologize, it's not a guttural toad, it sounds like an eastern olive toad. Oh, look at that. Isn't that really, really pretty? With Aubrey's light coming from behind her. That frog is incredibly loud. So it has been quite a spectacular sunset safari. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find that leopard we went racing off to try in search of, but all within about 150 meters of each other. We've had lions, we've had elephant, we've had buffalo. And we have a eastern olive toad making an incredible racket just in front of the vehicle. But so nice to see the Nkuhuma pride with big full bellies. Even though that one female is still carrying a limp, she should be fine. And especially that's one of the advantages of being part of a social pride, is that the other members of the pride can help look after you. And it doesn't look like they're going to be moving anywhere too quickly. And there's a bit of stretching, but we are getting quite close to the end of the safari. But you guys are going to be able to keep watching them for a while on the dam cam, which is going to be funny. Up and down, up and down. Well, Tina, I agree with you. Tina says we are so lucky to be around lions. It would be her ultimate life dream to be around lions. Well, mine too, Tina, and I'm very fortunate to say that I get to live my dream. So thanks again to everyone for joining us. Thanks for your questions. A very special day today. It's Brian Joubert's 1 year anniversary with the Safari Live crew. So congratulations, Brian. And to everyone else, don't forget to watch us on the Sunrise Safari to see if we can find the Nkuhumas again. So we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.